It's Easter time, meaning it's time to celebrate new birth and the resurrection of Jesus. One of the ways we do that is through celebrating chicks. It symbolises new birth. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make an adorable chick like this one. This is the exact one I make in the tutorial, and I made it in 20 minutes, meaning you know that you can make it in 20 minutes with me in real time. If you enjoy this video, hit that like and subscribe, and comment down below if you have any tutorial ideas that you want me to know about. I'd love to be able to personalize these tutorials to you guys. I hope you enjoy this video. Hit that like and subscribe, and let's start the tutorial. So to make this Easter chick, we're going to need two colours. Now, here I have a selection of colours you could choose. I have this kind of creamy white, which is what I'm going to use for the body of the chick. I then have this golden yellow colour. You could be using a golden yellow like that for your chick. And then we have this burnt orange colour, which could be a good colour for the beak. For me, I'm going to put the burnt orange aside, and we're going to be making a chick with a pale body and then a yellow beak. We're then going to need a pair of scissors, and here I have my 4.5mm crochet hook. That's what I'm going to be using because it's going to help you guys be able to see what I'm doing. But if you want your crochet to be a little bit tighter and look a little bit neater, go down to a 4mm. Then finally, I have my soft toy filling from Hobbycraft. I'm going to be using this to fill the toy at the end. So to start off, we're going to take the body colour of our chick. So that's going to be this cream colour. I'm simply going to find the end of this wool. Now this is a huge ball of wool. This is like the equivalent of 4 of these 100 grams. I think it's about 400 grams of wool originally. I don't know why I got a wool that big. I think it was just on a really good offer. It's Women's Institute. I am a fan of the Women's Institute wool. So I believe all of these are Women's Institute, if you're curious. Now, we're going to start by making our circle. So we're going to start with a slip knot. So we're going to start by doing 2 chain stitches. There's 2 chains. Now we're going to do 6 single crochets into the first chain that we made. So that's going to be 6 single crochets into that first chain. And there you can see we now have our circle. Now we're going to do 6 increase stitches. So we're going to work around and we're going to do 6 increase stitches. So that's an increase stitch in every stitch for the next round. So that's an increase stitch and our second increase stitch, our third increase stitch, our fourth increase stitch, our fifth increase stitch, and now our final increase stitch. There we go. Okay, now we're going to increase it even further. So we're going to now work in a pattern. If you followed my tutorials before, you'll know what I mean by that. But because we are still going to do 6 increases, we just need to space them with 1 single crochet, which means we're going to do 1 single crochet and then 1 increase stitch. We're going to repeat that pattern 6 times. So if you follow me, that's going to be 1 single crochet and then an increase stitch. Then we're going to do 1 single crochet and an increase stitch. Now we're going to continue that pattern for 1 single crochet and an increase stitch. We're halfway, so we're going to do that pattern 3 more times. 1 single crochet and an increase stitch, 1 single crochet and an increase stitch, and finally 1 single crochet and an increase stitch. There we go. Now this is going to be the base of our bird. Now we're going to do 4 rows of single crochet. To do this, I'm going to grab some marker string. Here I have my trusty red wool. I'm going to use this as my marker wool. So taking the end, we're going to pop the end of the wool between the crochet. So we're going to pop it under there at the corner of the stitch we've just done. And then we're going to take our wool, bring our wool to the left and bring these strands of red wool to the right. I'm just going to separate them. Now we're just going to let that red wool sit there while we crochet around. So we're now going to do 4 rows of single crochet. With that red wool there, it's going to help because it's going to mean that we don't have to count the stitches as we go round. We can just crochet until we bump into that red piece of wool, and then we get to remark the next row and continue. You should have 18 stitches as we're going round at this point. We started with 6, then we went to 12, and then we went to 18. And here we go. I'm coming to the end of my first row. So I'm going to take that red marker wool, I'm going to tuck it behind so it stays in that corner, and then I'm going to continue for my second row. Now halfway through this row, it's starting to turn into quite a cup. And what I like to do at this point is flip it inside out. That means you get this nice smooth edge on the outside, as opposed to this bumpy edge, which I'm not too keen on. Once you've flipped it, just continue crocheting round as normal. And we've come to the end of our second row. So with our marker string, we're just going to bring that forwards, and again, keep it tucked in that corner, but we're going to bring it forwards, and then we're simply going to crochet over it. Now don't worry, we'll be able to take this marker wool out once we've finished this bird. So it's not going to be permanently there, it's just there to help us in the process of making it. And we've come to the end of our third row. So now we're going to bring that wool forward again. Actually, that's the other strand. We're going to use the string that's already forward and tuck that one backwards. And we're going to continue round. And there we have our 4 rows complete. So this is going to be the base of the chick. That's its body, and now we're going to do its head. Now to do this, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. We're going to get the crochet that we've got in this ring, and we're going to flatten it with our stitch on this corner. Now this is because we're going to drop the stitches on the back and keep the stitches on the front. So we're going to do I'm just going to explain this to you. We're going to single crochet 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4 along the front. Then we're going to jump to the other side and single crochet 4 back. That's going to make a separate ring. That's going to give us the head of our chick and leave that part to make the tail. So if you do this with me, we're going to single crochet 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to turn the crochet completely over. We're going to count backwards the 4 we've done, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to count another 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the one that your finger lands on is where you're going to put your hook in. Okay? So let me do that again. We're going to count, essentially we're going to count 8 backwards, okay? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make sure your wool is over to the left before you put your hook in. We're going to put the hook into the 8th one, and we're then going to do a single crochet in there. And we're going to continue round on those last 4 stitches. So now we have our head there. Now we're going to do 2 more rows around, so that's going to be 8 stitches for each row. So if you do 16 single crochets, that will be enough stitches. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's 1 row, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now you'll start to see the shape of the chicken is appearing. It's a chicken or a chick, whatever you want to call it. We're now going to do 4 decrease stitches. So to do a decrease stitch, we're going to go and as if we're doing 1 single crochet, but don't pull through the second time, and a second single crochet, but don't pull through the second time, and then pull the wool through both. That turned 2 stitches into 1. So do that 3 more times. There's a decrease. A decrease, and our final decrease stitch. There we go. Now, give yourself plenty of wool on the end. We're going to want plenty and plenty of wool. Okay, I'm thinking, what is that? 1, 2, 3. I'm thinking about 3 fingers length of wool. And then we're going to simply pop the hook into the next stitch, pull the wool through to do a slip stitch, and then pull the wool all the way through and pull it tight. And that's the end of the body. Okay, now with the red wool, you can simply pull that red wool and it'll come out. So, there we now have our chick body. Now what we're going to do is stuff the chick. So, you'll see we have this big hole in the back. We're going to sew that up eventually, but grab your stuffing. This is Hobbycraft stuffing. We're going to take out some stuffing, and sometimes it can get clumped. So we're just going to air it out. We're going to pull all of those bits of stuffing apart to make sure it's a nice, soft and even stuff. Now we're going to simply feed it into the chick. Now, as we do this, we need to make sure we're pushing it up. Oh, I lost him. Need to make sure we're pushing it up into the head of the chick. Now I'm going to use my trusty pair of scissors. I'm just going to hook some of it up there. That'll just make sure the head is stuffed. We're going to continue stuffing in the body. Now, I like my things nicely stuffed. I think it holds the shape nicely. There you go. And now we have the stuffing. So, now it's time to sew. On the top here, we're going to take our hook and we're going to pop it through. Now we have 4 stitches on the top, and we're simply going to pull the wool all the way through each of those stitches. By pulling it through each of the stitches all the way round, we'll then be able to pull it tight, which will bring it together. So going through the 4 and then back into the original one, we're going to pull it tight. And that is now sealed on the top. And now we're going to pop our hook into the hole down the bottom. We're going to push our hook up through the chick, up to the head, pop it out through the middle there, and pull this string down. Pull that string down into the body of the chick, and now we can use that string to sew up the body. So, to sew up the body, we're going to similarly hook each stitch. So, we're going to hook a stitch on this side, pull it through from the inside to the outside. Then we're going to hook, keeping it this way, hook through on the other side from the inside to the outside, pull our wool over the top and pull it through. Now what you can see is we've made the wool go from the outside to the outside, meaning when it sews it will pull those bits together and you won't be able to see the ridges. So we're going to do the same on the next stitch. We're going to pull it from the inside to the outside, and then on the other side we're going to pull it from the outside to the inside. And we're going to keep looping it over. You can see we're building a little bit of a bridge of string here. Okay, once we've done 3, now I'm going to pull it tight and you'll see it will get pulled together. There we go. Now we're going to continue. We're going to go outside. And then we're going to go from the outside to the inside on that side. Now what you'll see is when we've done the chick like this, we end up with this little poke here, which actually works really well. That acts as a tail for our chick. Now, we're going to thread that piece of string inside, and now it's time to do our beak. So, for the beak, we're going to go to the front end of the chick, so have the chick as if it was facing you. We're going to take the wool, so I'm going to do mine in this yellow colour. We're going to take a little bit of wool. Now, we're going to insert our hook where we want the beak to be. Now, for my chick, I've got, you'll see there's this row on top, then we've got that row and that row. Now I'm going to go down, so that's going to be, it almost looks like we've got 2 rows down to the front, and then I'm going to pop my hook in and then out again. So you see, I've just stuck it between those 2 stitches there. Now, I'm going to take my yellow wool, I'm going to pull a loop through, and that's going to act as my cast on. Keeping the second thread with decent length, we're now going to chain 2 stitches. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to do a slip stitch in that first stitch. And I'm now going to do a slip stitch in the original stitch that I went into that's into the actual body of the chick. And then we're going to take our scissors, we're going to cut that. You can cut it nice and short. We're going to pull it tight, pull the other end tight, and then we can thread that wool into the chick's body. And there you can see our chick now has a little beak. And so now for the final touches, we're just going to add eyes. Now I never mentioned we'd need black wool, but here is some black wool. Wow, you really can't see that on my background, can you? But we're going to take our black wool. Now you can do googly eyes, you can do the sew-in eyes, you can do whatever types of eyes you want. I'm going to use black, and I'm simply going to cut off about 2 fingers length. So there you go, you can see that's about 2 fingers length of wool. Let me see if I make this a little bit brighter, that'll help you see the black. And we're then going to simply work it through the wool. So again, I'm going to insert my hook where I want my eyes to be. I'm going to take my wool and I'm just going to loop it through. Now, if you want little eyes, you won't want to loop it very much, but if you want bigger eyes, you can loop it lots. Now, I think the bigger the eyes, the cuter. So I'm going to do 3 loops on this side. Now I'm going to flip around to the other side and I'm going to try and match the positioning of those eyes. Taking the wool across, I'm then going to loop 3 more of the black loop on this side. There we go. And then I'm going to cut that nice and short, because sometimes you'll be able to see the black wool through. The other bits of wool, we're then just going to pull it in, and that will tuck away those bits of wool. Now I've got a little bit of leftover wool on the bottom here. Let's cut that and thread in this last bit of wool. And here we have a very cute and simple Easter chick. You can see it on both sides there. That was very easy to make. We made it in 20 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy your new Easter chick. If you did, please like and subscribe, and pop any tutorials you want to see in the comments down below. It really helps me out knowing what you guys want to see. And I wish you a very happy Easter.